Welcome to the Bernard Data Solutions February 25th, 2016 release webinar. In this session, we will review 36 new features in MyBernard, Rapid Entry, and the Web API. These enhancements and features include a new Events module, a new Vendors module, along with changes to the Partners, Funds, Appeals, Inventory, Reports, Planned Giving, and Administration modules. For our first section, we will review 8 new features and changes to the Partners module. For our first change to Partners, when viewing a partner, the image, actions, details, and activity areas can now be repositioned and collapsed vertically individually or horizontally as a whole. Additionally, a user can now scroll the main partner information independently of these areas. For our next change, pop-ups within MyBernard will now have a new look and feel. For our next change to Partners, adding an image to a partner has now been moved to the Edit Partner page. For our next enhancement to Partners, users can now record a gift in kind. This is available within the Actions screen when viewing a partner. A gift in kind will be recorded as a $0 transaction. However, we will record a fair market value. For tax and reporting purposes, when creating a gift in kind, a user is also able to create and associate it with a new inventory item. For our next change to Partners, when creating notes, the subject and note type are now required fields within MyBernard and Rapid Entry. Each database can set a default subject and note type. To set these defaults, please contact support at mybernard.com. For our next change, gifts in kind are now available when viewing all activity. Additionally, they can be specifically seen within the new Gifts in Kind activity view. For our next enhancement, when viewing a partner, there is now an option of viewing event activity within the Activity section. For our final change to Partners, when viewing an invoice tied to a ticket purchase, you will now see additional event-related information. Next, we have one new feature within Queries. When selecting Locate Queries, Bernard will now display a list of queries used by the user sorted by last used date. Next, we will review Funds, which includes one new feature. Within Funds, a fund can now be marked as being used to record gifts in kind. For our next 6 enhancements, we will review changes to the Appeals module. For our first change to Appeals, When creating a new appeal, a user must now specify to create either a new solicitation or a new ACK. Additionally, the tabs shown to the user are specific to each appeal type. For our next enhancement to appeals, when copying an appeal, the options provided have been refined to only those that are applicable to the appeal type. For our next enhancement to appeals, all clients can now use Bernard's subscriptions functionality within their email type appeal pulls, even if you are not using MailChimp as your email provider. Our next change is to email templates. When viewing MailChimp templates within MyBernard, we will now display the full template HTML. For our next change, when sending preview emails of MailChimp templates within Bernard, we will now use the full HTML template in your preview. For our last change to appeals, if an e-blast is scheduled with a MailChimp template that contains default text, you will receive an error message asking you to correct the template within MailChimp. Once corrected, you are able to reprocess within Bernard or send the e-blast directly from MailChimp. The next 7 enhancements outline the new Events module and its functionality. Events are now set up and managed within their own section in Bernard. A user will need to have the appropriate event-specific rights in order to view and create events. The fields and data available when setting up and viewing an event are now completely event-specific. For our next enhancement to events, within an event, a user can now run an event summary report. Next, we've added a new Tickets tab, which is available within an event. Here, a user can set up tickets stepping through the ticket wizard or optionally choosing to manually create their tickets. Additionally, within the Event Tickets tab, a user can export a list of event registrants. For our next enhancement, within the Events Tickets tab, a user can import an event attendance file to record who attended an event. For our next change, within an event, there is a new Volunteers Staff tab. Here a user can create shifts for staff and volunteers. Shifts can be assigned a role, date, time slot, and capacity. Once an event's shifts are created, a user can assign specific volunteers to each shift. A user can export a list of all shifts and volunteers assigned to them. Additionally, a user can mark volunteers' shifts as completed. This will automatically record the volunteer activity within the partner record. For our final enhancement to events, within an event there is a new Sponsors tab. Here a user can create sponsorship levels as well as a list of benefits tied to those levels. Once sponsorship levels have been created, a user can then assign and manage sponsors tied to the event. Additionally, a user can export a list of all sponsors tied to the event directly from this tab. The next two features are for the new Vendors module. A new section labeled Vendors is available now within Bernard. Within this page, a user can manage and export all vendors used by your organization. A user must have the right Vendors Manage Vendors to access this page. Additionally, a user must have the new right Vendors Add New Vendor in order to create new vendors. Existing databases will have their vendors populated based on previously entered suppliers within appeal costs. Our second enhancement to vendors is to make vendors available for selection when adding costs to an appeal or an event. When adding costs to appeals or events, a vendor must now be selected from a drop-down list. If the user has the appropriate rights, then they can also create new vendors from this page. Our next enhancement is to media types. New fields have been made available for media outlets. These fields include email, phone, contract type, and target ROI. For our next enhancement, we have one new change to the inventory module. Service-only items will no longer be treated as having an unlimited supply. We will now base availability on assets added and deducted. If a service-only item should be considered to have unlimited supply, then it should also be marked as on demand. Next, we will review enhancements and changes to the Reports module. Within Reports, we have two new reports and one change to the tax receipts. For our first change to Reports, gift-in-kind transactions will now be reflected in the donation receipts reports. Next, we have a new report named Event Summary Report, EV1001. This report is available within the Reports page within the Event category. This report will provide a summary for all events selected. Finally, within Reports, we have a new report named Gift in Kind Summary by Appeal, F1006. This report is available within the Reports page under the Funds category. Our next enhancement is to planned giving. When performing a new assignment and locating a partner, you are now able to do a full search on partners. For the final enhancement that we will review in MyBernard is a new option within the Administration tab. Within the Administration tab, a user can now create vendor types. Our next two enhancements include changes to rapid entry. Our first change to rapid entry is to streamline event registration. There is a new Events panel within rapid entry. A user can expose this panel to select an event and easily see tickets available for selection to that specific event. Our final change to rapid entry is the ability to enable or disable the discount prompt in rapid entry. A database can now choose to never prompt their rapid entry users to apply a discount to a transaction. If you want to disable the discount prompt for your users, please contact support at mybernard.com. Our final two enhancements are items that are available within the Web API. First, we have exposed funds for the following calls via the API. We can retrieve a list of all funds, retrieve a fund by its ID, create a new fund in Bernard, or save an existing fund with all of the supplied information. Additionally, we have also exposed origin source definitions to the API. With these, you can retrieve a list of all origin sources, retrieve an origin source by its ID, create a new origin source, or save an origin source code with the supplied information. This concludes the February 25th, 2016 Bernard Data Solutions release webinar. If you have further questions about a feature or would like to enable any new settings, please contact the Bernard support team by sending an email to support@mybernard.com. Thank you for watching.